evening, every pony. This is Dratta Arcana at DAG. Welcome to tonight's podcast at Dratta Talks. And with me tonight is special guest.
Hello, I am the NateZ. I have a show about the My Little Pony collectible card game on YouTube called Like a Ditsy Do.
Hi, I'm Misty, and I do whatever I feel like.
Mystic is...
I think I like this guy.
I like him too. So...
What a coincidence, I also like this guy.
Well, welcome to the podcast, Mystic. I believe this is your first time.
Thank you.
So, and tonight we're going to be finally reviewing the Winnie City tournament results. Due to time constraints, we're only going to be reviewing the Core Tournament, and we'll be reviewing 3 other decks not from the Core Tournament that we each individually selected. So let's go ahead and jump into the first deck that placed 8th on the Core Tournament. And that deck, I believe, was by... Double R Forest, Smolder, Chalk and Yellow, and this deck's interesting. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm only just being able to look at it now as we're talking, but I am liking what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, I agree. I am also just pulling up this link because we were previously a few minutes ago browsing through. I hadn't gotten to this one yet. So first impressions, this looks fairly common for an orange-yellow from what I've seen. Mage Meadowbrook, of course, is fairly standard.
Yeah, that's very true. We got a lot of dilemmas there. I can see this deck having a lot of power counters and being able to get things pretty big rather quick. Of course, treading water is a very common... card used in orange, yellow. It's actually interesting that I'm not seeing any motivational speeches or fire of friendships, which is interesting. So
it's true, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you have the gummies.
Gummy is just my favorite card. One of my favorite cards right now, because you basically get to play him for free. You just move someone and he's in play.
Yeah, and when you move that character, when you move your main for 2 AT, you drop Gummy, and now you are in what looks to be nearly all of your yellow rack. The only one that's above that is Fluttershy, Powered Up, and Brian?
Believe so.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Though,
Some of the dilemmas require a 2 yellow.
Oh, yeah.
Only 2 of them, though.
Right. Huh. The other intriguing thing is how is he... Well, I guess he's got Lickspittle there for orange entry. The only thing I don't like... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do like the pirate ship to gummy combo that's possible. That seems funny.
Yeah, that actually really does seem funny. That's actually not a bad combo. Well, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to spend on this. But I think we're going to see another orange-yellow deck later on. But let's go ahead and jump to the 7th place person. And that was by Cordell. So, Octavia White-Yellow.
Right now, my first impressions are I love the Octavia main. I'm glad to see her in play.
Fair enough.
I have to take some credit. Cordell and I actually collaborated on this deck. So
I feel like you collaborate on every deck.
I collaborate on a lot. Though that Bedtime in Yona just looks interesting. Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
I just have to laugh at that combination. It was such a good combination. Have you seen that combination yet, Mystic?
I don't believe so.
So, you're familiar with Bedtime, right?
I am not yet.
Oh, well then let's go ahead and talk about that. Bedtime is a resource that you play on a play to your home. If a friend would be put into a player's hand from play, banish that friend instead.
I see. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was.
And then Yona triggers that, and then bam, that's pretty cool.
I know, right? So, and of course, Herd and Timbles is just funny. Oh wait,
It's pretty interesting.
And there's Big Mix-Up. Oh, that is good. Imagine that with Bedtime.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
This deck just looks mean. That's all I have to say. Lots of...
Seems very frustrating.
Well, if any of the fan animations are to go by, Octavia doesn't mess around.
No, she does not. And the mimics there just because, you know, if you wanted to play events or troublemakers or resources, yeah, no, you're not allowed to do that. Well, next deck is, I believe, the next one in the list. This one is by, I believe, Mr. Zodu. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Zodu goes by several different names, but Mr. Zodu built this. He's been fooling around with orange a lot. This is another go fast or, well, that's a lot of power though.
Yeah, I'm taking a quick look at it now, and like this Applejack main fascinates me because it's a very risk versus reward type thing. Because if you exhaust her, you lose the 3 power she provides. But then I'm looking at this deck, you might flip a 6 or a 7, or I'm seeing a lot of 5s and more 7s. So it's a really interesting idea.
Yeah,
I'm actually glad this is on here because it's research for me basically.
I mean, blue-orange is a really strong combination. And Daybreaker and Nightgliders are nothing to sneeze at.
Nope.
So, plenty of also control tools here too. You got Desert Road, Appaloosa. You got Limestone, Big Mac.
And of course, Factory Organizer.
Yeah. Thoughts, Mystic?
It just seems like a kind of a normal sort of face-off deck, except a lot more orange-centered than I've seen. Because like my main one I have is mono blue, so it's just interesting to me to see other people's takes on it and to see a very, again, as I said, orange-centered version of a similar deck.
All right. Yeah, I mean, orange is a very strong color. But next up, we got another deck by Animoy. And this might look a little familiar to some of us.
I'm just, right now, I'm noticing a lot of Rainbow Dash Ambassador to Loyalty. And our Alicorn Overlord Twilight Endless Friendship.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I had the pleasure of going up against this deck with my farming deck at the tournament. He put an Enforced Inequality into play, and then we spent the entire game trying to defeat her. Kind of hard when every character there is only 2 power.
Yeah, Enforced Equality is nasty.
Oh, I know. It was actually funny. I think at one point we both had Staff and Flash Magnus's shield in play.
Nice.
And we still
That won't help.
And we still couldn't beat her.
Well, if you both have it, it had the similar situation we had when we just played recently.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's good deck, Animoy.
Hey, John, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Did Starlight Glimmer Chrono Trigger come into play at all? Because this card really fascinates me, and I'm just wondering if there's a specific way it's intended to be used.
Well, when I went up against this deck, I can guarantee you Chrono Trigger went into play. But we'll get to my deck later.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, next deck is the blue-purple by Silver Hooves. Silver Hooves was at Continentals last year, and I had the pleasure of fighting him out for 4th place at Continentals.
Nice.
And I think this is a take on his Continentals deck, if I remember correctly. So, any thoughts?
Just looking it over right now, it's almost impossible to go wrong with purple and blue. Because blue's all about the cheap movement, and purple gives you the action tokens for that movement. And yeah, I see calling in the Dream Cavalry, so... Yeah, I'm actually surprised this one's not a little higher on the list.
Yeah, it's a really strong Balluna deck.
I think it possibly could be that it seems so simple that it could be a little too easily predictable, which could have been what they were falling for in the tournament. But, I mean, how would I know? So that's just a guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are anticipating blue aggro in its various forms currently. There's a couple changes I would make here. Maybe the new Daring Do card from Friends Forever, that when you confront a problem, you gain an action token, would probably be better than Stellar Flare. But, it's still a really fast deck with calling the Dream Cavalry is just brutal.
Yeah, I see what you mean with the Daring Do card, because I pulled one of those, and I'm debating whether or not to put it in one of my blue-purple decks. So,
yeah. So, all right, the next list. So this is top 4, I believe. Yes.
Oh, that was the 4th. This was number 3 now.
Yep, number 3, Fluttershy Blue Yellow. Okay, this is by Golden Note. Blue Yellow. I actually like this list. This looks actually like a really, really strong list.
Yeah, blue-yellow is another really good combination.
I mean,
I don't believe I've personally seen a blue-yellow yet, so I'm just looking at the synergy cards between them. They're new to me.
I noticed a really good use of Conductor's Baton. There's only one friend with a cost higher than 2.
Oh, yeah. I'm
actually surprised there's not a full playset in there.
Yeah. That's throwing me kind of off with the one Conductor's Baton. It might be that he only has one Conductor's Baton.
True, it is rare.
It is a rare. But Philomena makes sense. I think, a lot of players are still testing out a lot of the stuff currently. The really interesting one is the one Staphus Acanis, but it might be that he only has one.
I think I've seen this card in every deck we've looked at so far.
Yeah, I expect to see it quite frequently. Although
it's pretty obvious as to why, just making an observation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong card.
Even just the first ability, like everything else is just gravy.
True. True on
Half
that.
the time I even forget it does more than that. Just fine enough for me.
Well, now we're going to get into the first top 2 decks. Starting off with my own farming deck.
Yes, explain to me how this mad plan of only a playset of one friend works, please.
So what you do is you pay 1 AT to play Pony of Shadows. Your opponent's got a pretty good board. You go ahead and move your Rainbow Dash up to Pony of Shadows, and you say, all right, So next turn, you uncover your Pony of Shadows, you fight Pony of Shadows, defeat Pony of Shadows, and then reveal until you reveal a Catajack. Then you board wipe the field.
Okay.
Essentially.
Okay, yeah, that's
very fun to play against, though, because there's... like
that is a stroke of mad genius.
You have to keep the user's hand in mind and their card count, because without all their friends on the field, you have to think of what they would possibly be able to play against you, which is what I realized playing against this deck myself. I think this is the one I played against, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely weird only having, because you only played one Applejack across the whole time we played.
Yeah.
And I just got rid of her. So I was just fighting your main solely the entire time.
Yeah.
It was just interesting to see how that worked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's definitely one of the best mains right now, so.
Yeah, actually, what's intriguing is that if you, I know you guys don't follow the meta scene as much, but right now, according to, so there's this data system that one of the members of the competitive scene is currently calculating all the decks at tournaments. He's calling it the TIA system.
All right.
He's also a really big Celestia fan, but there's actually...
Yeah, I noticed.
So, with TIA, it calculates numerically what the top decks are. And right now, this deck is the top #1 deck.
Really?
Yeah, it's #1 on the list for the TIA ratings.
Interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of the, some of the big names in the community have already acknowledged that this is the best deck in Core right now. Which, honestly, I think Core has way too many decks to really say best, but it is a very, very fluent deck. Very simple in its game plan. And you were wondering about Chrono Trigger, right?
Yeah.
She made an appearance twice in that game. Both times she was gone on the next turn, but she didn't stick around very long.
I'd like to see because I made the game, the deck I used in our game 2 against this, I made to counter this deck, and that went well for me, and I'd like to see how that would be rated, because it was specifically for countering this deck. However, I don't know how it would stand on its own, so I'd like to see how that would work.
Oh yeah, you know, and that's the beauty of the deck building right now. You know, you could either build the counter to what is currently the top deck, or you can, you know, play with the anticipation of not seeing the top deck. Because if you notice, this deck's got 20 URs.
Yeah, this is... What was it like when I met you at BronyCon, someone said you have the best deck money can buy?
I'm not surprised by that comment.
Granted, it wasn't this deck, but still.
True. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the last 4 decks. So this is the deck that won the tournament. It beat me, but only because I didn't draw a single troublemaker.
Oh, that would be horrible for your deck.
So, honestly, this deck is by Vicky, and she's a very good local player, and this is just another standard yellow-orange, except using Thorax.
I love Thorax.
Thorax is so good. So, anyway, so those are the core decks. And first up, let's go ahead and jump into Nate's deck. So, Nate,
okay.
Tell us why you chose this.
First, because, like I said, I have a show called Like a Ditsy Do. It's themed around a certain bubbly mare. And so I picked this one at first because, just to sort of stick on brand for me, but I noticed it's orange-purple. And I just really appreciate that. Oh, even though now I'm taking a closer look, it's not purple for the reasons I thought it was, which I just assumed it was extra AT. Well, of course, I see Factory Organizer there.
Yeah.
But it's just, it looks like a really fun and interesting deck.
So if no one's noticed yet, this is an Odyssey deck. So one of the tournaments that they had at the convention was Odyssey block. So everything had to be within the Odyssey block. So nothing outside of Odyssey. So this is our first look at an Odyssey block deck, and I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Seems well enough.
Yeah. All right.
You got all the power counter boosting, and you got Sakura to reduce your purple costs.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one just looks like a lot of fun.
No, it does.
And they did tie for first, so.
Yeah. Well, there was like a 3-way tie, I think, in that tournament for first, which is insane.
Yeah, that's weird.
Mystic, let's get to your deck here.
All right, I chose the first place in Harmony, which was the blue-orange, because we did already look at a similar one in Core, which I didn't realize we were going to. Otherwise, we probably would have chosen something different. However, the judges seem like a much stronger version of the same thing we looked at previously. It does have a lot of cards that contribute towards the main objective of the face-offs. However, they also handle any issues that come across. Again, they have Big Mac for resources. They have AJ Pirate for troublemakers, all that kind of stuff. And they do deal with issues that could pose a threat to the deck while also helping the deck, which is pretty good for just getting things out there.
And Staff and Heart's Desire is a combination I really enjoy.
Yeah, I have never seen the card Heart's Desire before, and I will definitely add that to some of my decks.
Oh, Heart's Desire is classic. I do a little happy dance every time I pull one.
Yeah, I once comboed Heart's Desire and Staff, and it's really fun because you're almost guaranteed to win that face-off all the time. So
Yeah, pretty much.
out of all the aggro, farm, and control decks, the next deck we're going to look at is the deck I chose. It didn't do well at all during the Harmony tournament, but it's Cadell's deck from Harmony, placing 9th. And this deck, I'd be surprised. So what are your guys' thoughts? What do you see like right off the bat?
Well, immediately I love the Tempest Shadow main. I just want to get that out of the way. It's fantastic. I'm also noticing a certain bookie princess there.
Yeah, I was gonna say this just seems. I see a lot of similarities between this and my purple-white deck.
So here's the interesting thing. This is actually what we call a combo deck. I know that a lot of us, this is a very unique combo deck too. The original deck was initially called 104.3 The Cheese, which refers to the Comprehensive Rules 104.3, utilizing uniqueness violation for infinite AT gen. So, Nate, do you remember when we had that stream about princesses and we talked about Setting Moon?
Yes.
Well, here you go. Here's how she generates infinite AT.
Holy crud, you're right.
So, if you didn't notice, I'm sure Mystic, you probably do you see the combo yet, or no?
I'm still going through the cards one by one because there are some I haven't seen before. I definitely understand how Luna is supposed to be working. I'm just trying to find the card that unexhaust friends.
Look at what's old is new again in Trenderhoof.
I just got the Trenderhoof. Cards in play have unique. All right. And then where'd it go? I just saw it a second ago. Oh, here it is. Till the end of the phase, you may play friends and resources from your discard pile. If a friend or resource would enter your discard pile this phase, banish it instead. Banish this card.
Except for the fact that because they're being dismissed due to uniqueness, it bypasses any modifiers. What's old is new against banish is a modifier.
I see. Well, didn't you just say there was a rule against infinite AT gen? Or did I mishear that?
Nope, you can still do infinite AT gen. This is one of the few ways to do it, but because it's so specific on what it has to accomplish, so basically the concept is that the way it works is you get Trenderhoof in play, You play Setting Moon, you play Mass Matterhorn, you play Star Swirl Research, and then you play What's Old is New again, and then you get 2 Breezes with the same name in your discard, and then you just start playing a Breezy after a Breezy after a Breezy. And because of Setting Moon, that Star Swirl Research never gets drawn. It just gives you AT instead.
It's very clever. I like this. I might make this just to have fun on Tabletop Simulator.
And then when you have infinite AT, you basically say, I have 1,000,000 AT. And then you draw out your deck, and then you repetitively play Mistmane until you win the game.
Fair enough.
So Nate, kind of clever, right?
Yeah, I'm just processing all that information. I'm just like, wow, okay.
It does obviously seem very reliant on a single tactic, though.
Oh, yeah,
I think obviously can win without it, but it doesn't seem likely.
Yeah, and that's, I think...
If they do get it, that's just a confirm. That's just, I win the game.
And I think that Cadell came close to getting the combo several times. And that's the issue with combo, is it either fires and you win the game, or you never go off. And then you're sad.
Yeah.
That's where I have mixed opinions on them, because they're very fun and they're very clever, and like people like to talk about them. And those are the more popular decks, or ones that are really wonky like that. However, I also kind of just want to bypass that and take out as much chance as possible and just leave it up to a solid deck. But it's also less fun. So who knows?
See, I love reading and hearing about combos, because I just love learning how the cards can interact with each other. That's part of what makes the game fun for me. But I've not actually played a combo deck, at least not to this extreme yet.
Yeah, and there's definitely like the middle ground too. But like, going back to what I said a second ago, I mean to separate them mostly, not to what you said, but clarifying what I was saying. Sorry.
That's fine. And honestly, I think that the meta we're seeing now is definitely different than what I experienced last time. I know that Sequestria had kind of like one top deck through like the entire competitive season, and it was just always one deck. But now as you guys have seen, we're seeing tons of different decks. So
yeah, the variety's been great.
Yeah, and tons of room for exploration and stuff. So kind of excited about that. So any thoughts so far, Mystic? How are you liking the game? Because I know that you're fairly new to the game.
Yes, I have been playing with my friend, and we both got starter decks, and it came with a booklet. And so we learned the original rules from the booklet from years and years ago. And we've been playing online through VR. And so then I met Dratta, and I was told we were playing incorrectly. He showed me how to correctly play the game. It is pretty much the same. I mean, it's not that different. No. But yeah, this is definitely... So I was previously an MTG player for quite a few years, and I have completely dropped that game to play this game. It is very much fun.
Good choice.
I don't have a local scene.
Good.
Maybe one day.
Good choice. I absolutely love this game, and I dropped MTG as well for this. And I honestly think that this meta definitely has the most opportunities for decks, deck variety. And that's what I like about it.
Yeah, because like looking through the older cards, because whenever we were starting, we just go through Ponyhead and just look at all the available cards for just whatever it would recommend. And a lot of them like made it kind of obvious, oh, this card's supposed to be played with this card. These cards are supposed to be in this deck. And you kind of see the pattern of what decks you're supposed to be making. However, now that I'm looking at these sorts of things, it seems a lot more open so that people can design their own thing. And they're a lot less like intertwined with other cards in their sets. And it just seems a lot more flexible of a game than the original cards we were playing with before.
Yeah, Nate has... talked about the game a lot, and he loves those wacky decks, right, Nate?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just I just love coming up with something crazy or reading about something crazy and then giving it a try. It's just the options this game has. It's fantastic, and it gets better and better with every set. Because even if a set by itself might be underwhelming, but then you can find out how to play it with the previous sets, and then there's all sorts of great stuff.
All you need is about 2 or 3 cards that have really good synergy with like 7 or 8 other cards that are older ones, and then you can disregard the rest of that and then put those into like 800 new different types of decks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's what I love about this game is just the variety of what you can do with it, what you can accomplish and stuff. And it's always fascinating to see, new combinations and the things people come up with. I know I've been trying to build my decks basically, wonky like my farming deck has one friend and it works.
Yeah, I really like that. Because, like, there's obviously ways, because whenever I played against it, I was only fighting your main. You never played AJs. And I could deal with your main. However, the single AJs get around those cards that, like, prevent main characters from having power towards his face-off or that sort of thing. And, like, it just works in a very odd way. I like it.
Yeah.
Because it's not, like, super combo-y, as you mentioned, either, or I guess as I mentioned, either. But it's like, it is one of those wonky style decks, but it is still like a solid deck. It's just unique, I guess you could say.
Well, it's original development. I was preparing for, I think, store championships, and I've told a lot of people this. I was preparing for store championships here in my own city, and I was like, this I'm going to be seeing a lot of decks that are friend heavy. Let's build a deck for fun that literally doesn't need friends at all, but yet can still win. And that farming deck was the end result. And lo and behold, it became the top deck, what's considered now the top deck in the meta.
Yeah, that one still blows my mind. It's just like, friends are the currency of the game. How do you only have one and still work? But apparently it can be done.
Why? The currency of the game, as you said, is friends. So if you're able to, obviously everyone's going to have something, everyone's going to be focused on dealing with friends. And if you don't have anything for them to deal with, then, well, you kind of just negate half of their plan.
Very true. And the deck can still score at a pretty rapid rate because defeating troublemakers is like 2 points per troublemaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The downside, though, is obviously you require to have your troublemakers. As you said, you lost the core thing because you couldn't draw any. And then the game we played, I just prevented your troublemakers constantly because obviously that's the one thing you need. But again, you can't make a perfect deck. Every deck needs to rely on something.
Yeah.
So
the other downside is how many organs did you have to sell?
How many?
Dude, I don't know.
Like 3, 4,
maybe 5.
That's fair.
We should look into see if there's any more any new missing persons in Dratta's town.
I'm pretty sure I have to sell half my brain.
I do really like School Shutdown. That's a fun card.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's just, I've loved all. Granted, there's only 2, but I've loved both the sets and the newest block so far. They've been great.
Yeah. So, well, I think that's about time, guys. As always, this is Dratta Arcana. Thanks for hanging out with Dratta Talks. If you're looking to contact me, you can contact me via Dratta Arcana Gaming on Facebook or dratta.arcana@gmail.com. And if you're looking for this or any of my other content, of course, you could check out my YouTube page. And as always, no but Dratta comments. And this is Dratta Arcana with special guests.
Nate Darn Z, check out Like a Ditsy Do if you don't mind.
And MysticDrive. You just look at any of my things. I don't know. They're all different.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. And have a good night, every pony and every creature.
Good night, every creature.
Night.